other than just small, medium, and large penises, you are what is known as an intactivist.
I'm absolutely an intactivist.
And will you explain to the honeys what an intactivist means?
What an intactivist means is that we're really advocating for all the women, really the women out there, to really consider that when you're having a child and he's male and they ask you to check the box about circumcision, we're asking you to say no. That circumcision is something that is unnecessary and is actually really, in my opinion, is really not a parent's choice. It really should not be part of a parent's choice.
So you feel like once the child grows up, if they want to be circumcised, it should be something they choose to do.
You can choose that for yourself. Absolutely.
Because circumcision later in life does happen, correct?
Oh, it absolutely does happen later in life. Yeah.
Because you were telling me earlier that adult circumcisions, most of the adult men who decide to get circumcised, it happens at or required due to medical reasons.
Right.
It usually happens 35 to 45.
It happens later in life. That's absolutely right. In fact, actually, the statistic is that about 3% of all intact men need to be circumcised for some medical reason. So that means actually that 97% of men have no reason to be circumcised. I know that I know what the doctors will tell you. They'll tell you that you have lower rates of penile cancer.
Right.
What I can tell you is that American Cancer Society says please don't use that because that's really a bogus reason.
Yeah, they do. But like honeys, looked it up for circumcision for infants. I did my research because I've been waiting for Kate to return. She went to India and had a bunky good time. But I've been waiting because when I asked her about the benefits to circumcision, here's what it said online. With the removal or part of the penis's foreskin, a male child's risk of urinary tract infection, sexually transmitted disease, including HPV. And if you remember, there was like this huge outbreak of HPV in the Midwest in the schools. And penile cancer, which you just said the Cancer Society wants to debunk that whole thing.
Right. They really ask them not to use that.
But,
and you know, we can eat if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, that's something that actually women, and I understand that you have a large female viewer audience, and I would love to deal with it with you, all right? In the United States, women look at that if you're a woman and you've had HPV virus, that somehow you've been promiscuous.
And if you don't know what HPV is, just in case there's a honey out there who doesn't know, it's the human papilloma virus.
It's very common, all right? And it's actually been detected in young girls who were like 8 and 9 years old, and they said, oh, well, of course these girls have not been sexually active, so how could they have had HPV?
Exactly.
How they come in contact with it? Oh, it must have been through their mother's vaginas, all right? So HPV is a very common virus, and mostly your body will take care of it and kill it and eliminate it from your body. It does not mean that you have been a promiscuous woman, okay? I really,
that's like one of the like the dark side of HPV, because they try
also
and
American
paint it
society, also American society, to be very
disease.
honest with you, yes, one of the things that women really confront every day, especially from other women, is that they're slutty girls and that they sleep around and all this kind of stuff.
I feel like this subject matter is really important, not only to the heterosexual community, but also to the gay community. And I found it so interesting about circumcision versus non-circumcision, to where it was linked to the spread of HIV. How does that relate? Being circumcised and being...
Let's jump then ahead to... We know about female circumcision and how it was treated.
Right.
With the with the Victorians, but also with Christians. Realize that there's a whole Christian history to circumcision, male and female. That a lot of times Jewish people feel like they're being attacked by intactivists as being anti-Jewish. And the truth is, we're really not. We're looking at the American culture. Our culture says that circumcision is the norm and is the right thing to do. And that actually comes from the 1880s in the United States. And actually a very famous guy, and you may have eaten his cereal for breakfast, John Kellogg. Kellogg cereals. Very famous guy, and very famous in his time, and obviously very wealthy. Why? Because he invented cereals, your morning breakfast cereal. He invented the process for doing it. That also financed him, and he was able to promote a lot of his theories. One of them was that male circumcision and female circumcision would make boys and girls cleaner. And what did he mean by cleaner? He meant morally cleaner. Well, I didn't date, honey. I was married to a Brazilian man for 13 years, and he was, not circumcised. He was intact.
And see,
I never ever once experienced, an odor, a smell. I didn't know anything about this dirty thing until I actually started researching about circumcision and becoming an intactivist, about people talking about, oh, they smell bad, and I was like, hold on, I lived with, I'll just say his name, I lived with Claude for 13 years, and he never said a smell of
ever
dick.
found the cheese.
No,
right?
He was a great
because
guy.
that's the one.
Muslim women in Egypt are circumcised, and they are circumcised by choice. They choose to do this as a step to becoming, as they would say it, matronly. Sex is not something that God created to be enjoyed. It's something to procreate
and that's
children.
The purpose. So it's like a process. It's not supposed to be enjoyed.
That's exactly right. It's a step in.
It's like, let's go have a baby.
There you go.
I'm pregnant. It's not like, I love you, baby. And
I love you. I want to give myself to you. In fact, it's very interesting. One of the things I don't think you know, I've never told you this before, is that I dated a French man. So because of that, I learned French. So, je parle français.
Yeah.
And actually one time I was watching the French TV show, and they had a documentary, and it was from Malawi. Malawi has a lot of female circumcision going on. It's very popular. And it was amazing because a guy comes on to the screen and he's speaking French, and I understood every word he said, and he said, how is it that you can allow a woman not to be circumcised? If you don't circumcise them, they'll just sleep with any man, kind of stuff. If you don't do that, then they'll just sleep with anybody.
That's a mess, and
Isn't that an amazing thing? It's an amazing, amazing thing. So when I heard that, it was just really eye-opening, and understood that it's a cultural perspective.
I think here in the States, and I know, I'm a gay of a certain age, and also, by the way, I too feel a little like an intactivist because I appreciate the uncut penis over a cut. And by the way, for those of you who have seen me and my layouts and spreads, y'all know I'm a cut girl. So no tea. Yeah, I'm circumcised. No, I don't hide that. But if I would have had the choice, I would have kept it.
And see, that's really what we're advocating for your baby, for your sons.
That's just it.
That you're having today. Is it should be their choice. At the age of 18, you should have the right to either be circumcised,
go under and have it snipped, or
not. Because why? Because it's your body.